Most producers struggle to build interesting chord progressions, and whenever they try, they end up getting stuck with the same 3 patterns they've been using for years. But in this video, I'll teach you my favorite technique that lets you write amazing, unique chord progressions every single time. Progressions like this one, for example. I'll explain this technique in 3 simple steps, plus a little bonus one at the end if you're feeling extra fancy. Okay, so we're gonna start with step 1 of the process, which is write a melody line. I opened up a new MIDI track and pulled up an E piano, get some basic sound. We're not worried about the sound right now, we'll worry about that later. Now this might sound a little counterintuitive, but we're trying to build chord progressions, and what I want you to do is not think about chords. I want you to think about melodies. In fact, right now for step 1, all we're gonna do is write a melody, a very simple melody. I'm literally just gonna click it in, just kind of listen for it. I'm not really thinking about anything other than just kind of building a little catchy melody. Very, very simple, just a few notes. And the way I'm gonna build it, it's gonna be repeated twice, but the second time around is gonna have it's gonna be just a little different. Now, if you're working on this and at any point you find yourself wanting to dive deeper into building melodies, bass lines, and even mixing, you need to check out my free 5-day bootcamp where I'm gonna help you out with all of that. I left a link in the description. It's 100% free. Go check it out. First repeat. And maybe here just a long note. Very basic, very simple, just one melody line. So right now I'm just playing this on a very basic E piano, but what sound should we be using? And the answer to that question is, it doesn't matter. In this part of the process, it really doesn't matter. We'll worry about the sound later. But okay, we have our melody. What do we do with it? This takes us to step number 2. And what we're gonna do now is build 2 more of these melodies layered on top, one above the original one and one below. Let's start with the one above. And as I'm building this melody, all I'm really thinking about is the sound. I'm using my ears to just kind of build note by note, create different rhythms between the original melody and the new one, and kind of have them complement each other. I'm not thinking about chords, I'm just worried about melodies. Now, if you're struggling with just doing it with your ears, even though I think it's the best way to do it, but if you're struggling, you can always turn on your scale markers for whatever key you pick, and then you're just gonna have to make sure that you put notes on the ones that are highlighted. But if you can do it by ear, it's much better. Let's finish building this top melody. Now I'm pretty happy with that. Now let's move on to the 3rd melody line. We're gonna build this one below the other 2. Okay, we're done with step 2. I'm pretty happy with that. Now let's move on to step 3. Fill in the gaps. So right now I think we can all agree that without really building any chords, we actually built chords because we stacked 3 notes on top of each other with movement, with things shifting around, and it sounds like a chord progression. In fact, it sounds like a chord progression with a little bit of a melody already built into it. And so far we did all of that without thinking about music theory, without knowing even what we're doing. You could be a complete beginner just kind of using your ears, and you could click notes in and get the most unique, creative, weird chords that you can possibly imagine. But step number 3 is what's gonna tie it all together. So I call it fill in the gaps because one of the easiest way to do this is to actually go in and fill in the gaps. So look at the pattern that we have in front of us right now and look at the spots that are looking suspiciously empty. Like this one, for example, right here. Let's try to fill those out. Always using our ears to double check that we're not just putting in random notes. Like that one. That's terrible. That's better. There's a big ol' empty gap right here. There's a little bit of a gap right here. We could put something there for sure. And it's really up to you. You have 2 different approaches to do this. You can do longer notes, or you can get kind of creative with the rhythm. I'm gonna show you that in this little part right here. And that's gonna just add more texture and more like movement to your chord progression. So it's not just like chord, 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 but it's chord with like these cool, creative, intertwined melodies inside of it. So for this bar right here, for this section right here, we have the bottom melody doing just 1 note. We have the original melody that we created doing 2 notes. And then we have the top melody that we created doing 3 notes. So for this bass right here, honestly, we can go a little bit crazy, I think, and do just a bunch of notes. As always, ears are your best friend. Ooh, I like that. Okay, it's really shaping up now. Let's fill this gap right here and maybe add a note at the bottom. Let's do the last bar at the end. Hey, that's a pretty good chord progressions. And the really cool thing about this method is that not only we have a chord progression, but we have melodies built in. So without you even realizing it, we not only built a chord progressions, but we already built all the layers we need to make basically the entire melodic structure, chords, melodies, lead lines, everything for an entire beat. And I'm gonna show you how to take this and do that in our bonus step, step number 4, arranging your chords. By the way, if you're a beginner or intermediate producer, you've been making beats for a while and you need some feedback, I do live feedback sessions on my private producer academy, Better Music. If you want to come join the Better Music platform, we have courses on there, live events every single week. We have beat battles, we have challenges, and we even just recently launched our virtual campus where we can hang out, make music together, collaborate, and just kind of chat and get to know each other. If you want to check it out, I left the link in the description. So let's go back to our melody and our bonus step number 4. So what we're gonna do for this one is create 4 MIDI tracks. For each of the MIDI tracks, we're gonna pull up an instrument. Now, obviously this is gonna change depending on what type of beat you're making. Right now, I'm gonna get vinyl guitar for one of them. I'm gonna pull up Serum 2 for another one, Analog Lab. So right now, what we're gonna do is take our melody with all the different layers that we built, all the different individual melodies, and we're gonna copy it over to all our 4 tracks. Now we're gonna solo one of the tracks, for example, the vinyl guitar one. This melody is already pretty cool just on the guitar, but for the sake of the tutorial, let me show you what I would do. So we're gonna go in and start deleting some of the melody lines. So let's say the guitar, for example, is gonna do the line in the middle. We can delete the stuff at the bottom, we can delete the stuff at the top, and we can delete some of this. Honestly, kind of a random. Sure, that works. And this is really the power of this technique, because now we're gonna move on to the second instrument, which is Serum. And now we're gonna go into our second track and we're gonna delete some other notes. So let's delete the stuff in the middle. Let's delete the bottom stuff. Okay, let's move on to the third one. Now, obviously the sounds we have could be picked out a little bit better. I just kind of pulled up some sounds at random to show you how this works. Same thing for this third track. We're gonna delete some of the notes. Let's do the last track as well. Pick a sound. We could do an ARP, I guess. Or let's do a bass. Now, because this is a bass sound, I'm gonna keep the bottom layer, the sort of bass melody. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Now you have an easy technique to build chord progressions and melody. But if you find yourself stuck on the next step of mixing, I left a link in the description to my 1-hour workshop that will fix 99% of your mixing problems. Okay, I'm done. Bye.